Welcome back, everybody, and happy Halloween. Many of you are probably going to ask why I don't have a costume on. I have one, and we're going to an event later where I will wear it. I just say it's not the most appropriate for this setting. So you can just ponder that. We're going to start today's show with a clip of pop star Billie Eilish calling out Mark Zuckerberg and other billionaires in the room at an event. Zuckerberg apparently was not happy with that. I'll show you that in a second. But first, it's Halloween, right? So what are some of the famous characters in our politics getting up to? Well, Bobby, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., got up to this spooky video. So I guess they're listing wins or perceived wins. Nice. Happy Halloween, trick or treat. No, you don't get any candy, Bobby.
McDonald's cheeseburger.
Then Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, posted this. I've finally decided on my Halloween costume. Everyone stay safe, trick-or-treating. Happy Halloween. Fun. So is that Professor X? Probably. All right, Greg. We see you. Now we get to the subject of this story on Halloween. Billie Eilish, very spooky for the billionaires. All right, I'm done with them. I won't make any more references, I promise. Was speaking at this Wall Street Journal event, getting some award, and there were lots of wealthy people in the room. And she said this: while you watch it, please do, if you appreciate the show, click the subscribe button. It is free. Today is a better day than any to click it. It's freer than it'll ever be, or as free as it'll ever be.
Love you all, but there's a few people in here that have a lot more money than me. And if you're a billionaire, why are you a billionaire? No hate, but yeah, give your money away, shorties. Love you guys. Thank you so much.
Okay. That's a funny delivery. Billie Eilish spoke to the economic inequality that has been caused through generations of lobbying that has broken our economic system in favor of the wealthiest Americans, impeding the ability for working class Americans to live the American dream. Give your money away, shorties. She summed it up there. And actually, she has put her money where her mouth is a little bit by, as I just X'd out of a key tab, that's good, that's fun, by donating $11.5 million from her tour's proceeds to support, quote, organizations, projects, and voices dedicated to food equity, climate justice, reducing carbon pollution, and combating the climate crisis. You can take that down. Let me see if I can get this tab back to see Zuckerberg's response. Yeah, there it is. There it is. But before that, I mean, listen, it's important to specify that the solution to economic inequality, the structural problems that is coming of our oligarchy in America, putting their own wealth and ability to increase their wealth even more above a country that would be just better for us all to live in. And that's the part that I don't understand. Why don't they want to live in a more prosperous, more equitable country? Not socialist, not communist, but just common sense reforms that we've seen in other countries too that have worked, with still flourishing capitalist systems, but with profound reforms to uplift working folks. Why wouldn't they want to walk around on streets that are safer and better and more productive and more interesting people living interesting lives and happier lives, better, stronger communities? That's what just a little bit of a change in our public policy could provide, but they've obviously prioritized for generations something very different. And the way to systemically change that is less so them just donating the money. That's good too. But is us getting back control of our own political system and fundamentally changing the system. But it's still impactful when people like she did give away big amounts of money. And obviously she's not close to a billionaire, but she was speaking to some billionaires. And the New York Post had a report that Mark Zuckerberg had a painful reaction revealed after Billie Eilish slams billionaires at star-studded event, and he wasn't happier than ever. That's one of her songs. So good. Good job, New York Post. I love whenever written publications try to do, what do you call that? A pun? I don't know. A reference? Double entendre? No. Mark Zuckerberg reportedly refused to clap after Billie Eilish called out the billionaire class during her speech at the Wall Street Journal Magazine Innovator Awards. On Wednesday, they cite that she's the bad guy author. And Ocean Eyes. Ocean Eyes. So good. It's so good. I was listening to Billie Eilish all this morning because of the story, actually. And here's the problem. Despite Trump, well, first, I guess his big protest was not to clap for her and being kind of butthurt, which is weird. We're going to talk about later Pete Buttigieg doing an interview with the All In guys, who are sort of wealthy entrepreneur business type people who have this podcast. And one of them was taking issue with the idea of quote unquote punishing wealthy people when they have been innovative and have worked really hard and taken big risks. And maybe there are some people who want that, but that's not at all what Buttigieg is talking about. Buttigieg is not some radical communist. As I said before, yeah, we need to fundamentally change our tax structure, and we can do it, and we can model it off of other countries where it's worked to be able to grasp more of the vast wealth in this country, the wealthiest country on the planet, but still we have some of these basic problems that we just shouldn't have. Especially with technology, AI, increasingly generating so much wealth, requiring less and less workers. We're gonna have to address that. It's not hateful or punishing of people who have worked hard and made money to do that. And again, it's in the interest of them and their kids and future generations to have a prosperous and livable set of communities in the country. But Trump, while promising to be against the elites, obviously has completely betrayed that in favor of the elites, all because they became his buddies and they were coming.
Jeff Bezos came, Bill Gates came, Mark Zuckerberg came. Many of them came numerous times. The bankers have all come. Everybody's coming.
I have a few clips that I'm playing a game with myself to see how many times I can play them on this show. I saw that Ben Meiselas of Midas Touch said this in a conversation with Newsom.
This is a rise of authoritarians and this right-wing, whatever you want to call it, against all of the building that had taken place really since the Declaration of Independence, our Constitution, and developing a more perfect union. That's what it is. And as all of this information has flooded the zone, you would think that's a good way that people get educated. But paradoxically, I think it's brought us back to the dark ages and the feudal times, because lots of information doesn't mean good information. Yep. And so with AI, with all of this info that's out there, it is what I think the kind of right-wing authoritarians want to create is this kind of lord versus peasant dynamic that existed in the dark ages when people didn't have access to information. And I think we risk creeping into that. So it's a long-winded and philosophical answer to your question.
It's so important. So just kind of go with me on this. Picture, as you think about businesses before, you have someone that owns the business or owns parts of the business. You have a little knick-knack, this little Sharpie being made. And there's people who go into a factory and they get paid and they put the Sharpie together, and then someone else advertises the Sharpie, and then someone else is the person selling the Sharpie. Increasingly, with the advancement of technology, with AI being able to fill so many of those positions, the Sharpie is going to become easier and easier to produce. The company's going to get more and more efficient, be able to make more and more money, but all those jobs that used to be a part of that process will just be filled by a robot. And you'll be able to have it put together almost completely, maybe one person instead of 100 who oversees the manufacturing process. And then those people at the top of the companies, instead of the wealth that gets generated by the production of something or by a particular service, having to be divided up among a bunch of people because a bunch of hands went into that production, it'll be a smaller and smaller number of people who are the ones getting the wealth from a more and more efficient wealth production. And so if we don't shift our approach to the system, you're going to have all these people who struggle to find jobs, a very small number of people who actually own the wealth generation, and that dynamic that Ben explained, a more detached from accurate information, which makes it even more dangerous, detached from fulfilling lives, mass populace, with a very small group lording over us, lording over the peasant class who actually owns all the wealth. And so there's ways to address that, but it means systemic reform. It means wealth taxes. It means channeling that incredible, and I'm proud of the people who have made those advancements. And I don't think we're going to stop the technological train and go back to some time gone by where each little part of the Sharpie is put together by human hands. So if we're not going to do that, then we have to harness sort of like a technology dividend, an AI dividend that all of the American people are bought into, but just through taxation reforms. And we could do it. And other countries have done it successfully. It's kind of like when countries happen to be on top of vast oil resources, and then instead of just letting a few companies get all of the wealth from that, and then wealth inequality go bombastic in their country, they pay their citizens some percentage of the wealth that's being generated from what's under their feet. It's going to be the same thing with these technological advancements. Because if we don't make the political change necessary, the Zuckerbergs, they can insulate themselves. Even though I think, like, as I've been lucky enough to make more money than I did before, I'm almost to Zuckerberg level. I have that mindset of, like, when I pay my taxes, and finally I'm actually having to pay some taxes, I go, heck yeah. All the things that we had to fund to get me here as a society, I want to fund those for future people. But it's a different caliber when you can be completely isolated. And when you have the wealth of someone like Zuckerberg or others, the Elons, you really can, which is why we're increasingly getting to now or never with that type of systemic political change. To take a large chunk, still incentivize and celebrate people who have generated large amounts of wealth through very innovative projects, but just take a good bit of it, more than we do now, to implement into community revitalization, making sure people have the basic services they need, have a really strong social safety net, where they then themselves can go out and approach new ways to be beneficial and effective in their communities that might become unconventional because a lot of the times gone by jobs will be gone, but could open up a whole new set of options for people if we serve them properly with the United States' what's going to continue to be vast, vast wealth. And I was seeing on that note, talk about insulation. Fortune had Mark Zuckerberg gifted noise-canceling headphones to his Palo Alto neighbors because of the nonstop construction around his 11 homes. 11 homes of like $100-something million. So great. I'm so happy for you. I think you could chip in just a little more. I think you could chip in a little more and still want to pursue these endeavors. I'm worried, though, that these billionaires are going to be perfectly fine with saying, nah, we have the resources, the connections, mainly the money, to skew our political system so much that politicians are too beholden to our interests, where they don't make those types of necessary reforms, especially right now with the technological advancements we've been seeing, that will replace jobs. And maybe they'll give us a sex robot. Like, I think that's where Zuckerberg, AI friends, right? He's talked about AI companions. We'll give you that. and then be happy. That's what they think of us.
I love Tesla.
That we can be placated with a Tesla sex robot. That's what they think of us, ladies and gentlemen. It'll show up to your house. You'll have a good time. You'll cook a good meal. It'll feel for a moment like a real human connection. You've lost all attachment to your community because you don't go to a fulfilling job. People are having to just grab scraps to live. No time to participate in the sporting events at your school, the PTA. You're not meeting people, so you just fine. I'll take what the billionaires will give me. I'll take the robot. And it's fine. You make a good beef Wellington together. They're better at making your homemade recipe than you ever were. You go on a walk. You're proud of your Jaden robot. Whatever. I just thought of a random name. I couldn't think of it. Your CBC robot. It seems like it's a feeling you take it on a walk. Okay, maybe this isn't so bad. My quality of living is in the dumpster, but they gave me a state-issued robot, so whatever. And you introduce it to your neighbor. Ron. Everything's fine. Ron's impressed. Okay, maybe this isn't so bad. Maybe I don't need a more enhanced social safety net, jobs programs, better infrastructure, better schools, health coverage. Because this isn't so bad, and at least this is what Zuckerberg gave me. He told me we'll normalize friends with AI, and I'm doing it. Your robot gets home one night, and you say, "Where were you, CBC?" And it says, "I was at Ron's house." You say, "What? When did you meet Ron?" It says, "I met when we were on that walk. You introduced me to Ron." You go, "Okay." A few nights go by. Your robot comes home late again. You say, "Where were you?" Doesn't tell you. Now your robot's lying to you. But you can smell whiskey on the robot's lips. And you know that Ron loves whiskey. So then you confront your robot. "Are you cheating on me with Ron?" CBC, this is getting weird. CBC, are you cheating on me with Ron? And robot CBC says, "My program does not allow me to answer that question." So you go confront Ron. It gets a little bit hostile. You push him. You didn't intend for him to get hurt, but his head hits a rock. And he bleeds out in front of you. So you tell your robot, "You're my robot. You can't tell on me. Come help me bury this body." And the robot does it. Shallow grave in your backyard. But then you have this guilt, this deep guilt. Ron was your friend. Sure, he was an alcoholic. Yes, he was abusive to his kids, but he was your friend. And so you turn yourself into the police. And you go to the prison. And they open the prison door. And your roommate is Ghislaine Maxwell. That's what Zuckerberg wants for you. And I think we should push back against it. That's my message. Biggest compliment I ever got. Actually, this is funny. I hope he's okay with me saying this. But Adam Mockler was watching one of our videos and texted me and said, "Look at this comment." Someone said, "If I ever turn gay and decide I want to buy a male sex doll, I want him to look just like Luke." I will unite with the billionaires if they promise me that all autonomous AI companions will be modeled after me. No, I'm kidding. So, point is, good for Billie Eilish. That's the point. Is that where we started? Good job calling out Zuckerberg. We can't allow ourselves to be in a society where we exacerbate income inequality so much, where we're just begging for scraps from a very small billionaire class. The Elons, the Bezoses, etc. And don't have fundamentally fulfilling communities that can be achieved through cultural reforms, advocacy. It's not all just about the money, but through profound investment by harnessing and more properly distributing the great and mighty wealth of America while still celebrating capitalistic ventures like the AI robots.